Hi there, my name is Nancy Mueller. Welcome to another episode of Life is All About Choices, where I interview people on this platform to talk about challenges or trauma or something that happened to them in their past. And rather than allow it to keep them back or hold them back, they've used it to go on and do something really epic for themselves and for others. Today, the subject matter or the title that I'm calling this video is When Silence Hurts. So I would suggest right off the bat that if you have little kids in the room, you may want to put your earphones in. Make sure that you are paying attention to who's around you when you listen to this. There aren't any words in this video that are going to be offensive, but the content may be something that you as a parent or as the adult want to screen before you let anyone else watch it. And then I highly recommend that as a parent, you maybe watch this with your children and discuss the topic. Or if you are watching this and you need someone to talk to, there will be links in the description of this video for you to follow and maybe get some help or ask some questions if that's what you need to do. So without any further ado, I want to talk about the topic that I've chosen today, when silence hurts. Yesterday, I was listening to a conversation between women, and one of the women was talking about a very abusive relationship in her marriage and how she finally got to the point where she ended it. And as I was watching this conversation, I was feeling more than paying attention to, what they were saying. And I could feel the hurt and the degradation and the sadness of the woman who was sharing her story. And one of the reasons that I feel so compelled to share this video is because as I was feeling what she's feeling, I know that feeling. I know what it feels like to have a secret or something in your life that is so degrading and so devastating that you feel that you just can't possibly talk about it, because if you do, the worst thing imaginable is going to happen. The thing is, we're not really sure what that worst thing imaginable is. We just know that if we say anything, it scares us. It's fearful. Especially as children, when you have something that is happening to you as a child and you have no one to talk to, no one to go to. Maybe you fear talking to a parent because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble, or you fear talking to a parent because you fear you're not going to be believed. Silence hurts, because when you're sitting in this all by yourself, when you're trying to figure out, where do I go from here? What do I do? That silence that you've chosen to keep hurts. It just keeps building up inside of you, especially when it's something that you've been through that is sexual abuse, violence towards you as a person, witnessing violence to another person. So when you are suffering in silence and you're not sure what to do, and you finally get to that point where you say, you know what, I'm not going to be silent anymore. I'm going to talk about this. As these women that I was listening to yesterday were talking, and it was a very open conversation. They were being very supportive to the woman. The woman said, she worried about being judged by her peers. And the women said, well, we understand, we're here to support you. But some of the questions that were being asked of her is, why didn't you, fill in the blank there? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you tell someone? Why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you? The thing is that when other people are asking these types of questions, then what the person who has gone through the event begins to think to him or herself is, I didn't do enough. I should have fought harder. I should have, should have, should have. And we should all over ourselves. And that brings on guilt, remorse, judging ourselves. And judgment of self can be so harsh. We are our worst critics. And when you are keeping this silence for years and years and years, and it's building up and building up, and you have years of going through this feeling and you don't know what to do with it, and you just feel like you can't talk to anyone, and if you do share the events of what happened, that you would feel so degraded and so debased that that would be worse than what you went through. It becomes a vicious cycle. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is, if you are challenged, and I'm saying challenged because it is a challenge when we are making sense of this. But the first thing that I want to say is, if you've been victimized, that doesn't make you a victim. I want you to hear me with that. That does not make you a victim. Let that sink in for a minute. Because someone else happened to be stronger, I don't know, forced their way on you, forced something on you that you did not want, that does not make you a victim. And maybe that's what you need to hear from the very beginning, to just plant a seed in your head, plant a seed in your mind, plant a seed in you somewhere that you deserve to have everything in life that you dream of. But if you are having self-talk that's telling yourself, I'm no good, I'm not worth it, I should have fought harder, whatever it is that you are shoulding on yourself about, stop and ask yourself, is there anything that you could have done that you didn't do with the knowledge you had at the time of the event? And I can pretty much guarantee that the answer was no. So how can you fault yourself for not doing something different than you did when you only had the knowledge that you had? When we suffer in silence, we have negative self-talk that beats us up day after day after day. We talk to ourselves, we get up, we say, why did I do that? We live, we go to sleep thinking about it, we wake up thinking about it, and there's no place to put that. Hopefully, we get to a point where maybe we'll talk to a therapist. I know for me, when I finally decided to speak up and talk to a therapist, it felt so wonderful to just be able to say whatever I wanted to say without checking my words, without having to worry about what it would sound like when it came out. But much like these women who were talking yesterday and they were supporting each other, when you talk about an event or something that you experienced that was very traumatic for you, and you stay in the negative feelings of what happened, you're going to stay trapped there. You're going to stay trapped in the feelings of what happened. Now, I talk a lot about living your life from the inside out rather than the outside in. And when you've had something happen to you, or you've grown up in a space where you have felt less than, not good enough, where you felt that you had no self-worth, that you had no value, the words that you choose are based on the thoughts that you think that come from the belief that you created around that situation. And our thoughts are very, very powerful, and they give power to our words. So when we are thinking things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I have no value, We're actually sending out an energy. Our thoughts and our words create an energy that go out into the universe, and that energy comes back to us. So when you're feeling low energy, think about your energy like 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, 0 being the lowest. And when you're feeling happy, secure, loved, like you are so worthwhile, you have so much value, you are prosperous, you are abundant, you are loved, you are special, you are vibrating on a 9 or a 10, and life is wonderful. But when your thoughts are full of why you're not good enough, why this happened to you, you should have fought harder, you should have said something, you should have spoken up sooner, that's when our thoughts stay in this low vibration of energy. And everything is energy. And I feel so moved to share this message today, because when I was listening to these women talk yesterday, it was wonderful that they were sharing, that they were open, that the woman who really needed to talk about her story, was in a safe space and she could share without being judged. That was very, very important. But when you talk to someone who has not been there, or even someone who has been there, everyone feels differently. And we cannot feel what another person is feeling. We might sense what another person's feeling, but we really can't feel what they're feeling. So when you start to understand the power of living your life from the inside out, of doing the inner work on these challenges, if you have been victimized, it's so important for the good of who you are, for the beauty of who you are, for the love of who you are. Because every person came here with a gift and a talent that is unique to them, something only you can do. But when you are being kept down and feeling like you have no value, you have no worth, that you're actually afraid, and that there is a fear within you that is so strong that you have to keep yourself busy. You have to be doing something constantly, because if you stop for even 2 seconds, your mind will start to go in a place where you don't want it to go. And that is fear-based thinking, and that is the lowest of low energy. You deserve to know what it feels like to be loved, because you are love. Every single person comes from love and light. So how could there possibly be anything that would take away from that, except for what you believe? When I first started understanding the power of speaking and sharing my story and talking about what happened to me, I understood that this feels good. This feels powerful. This feels like I'm taking my power back. But my story also included the feelings and the emotions. And when I would share my story, I would feel, again, that feeling of what it felt like to be alone, to want help, to wish someone would help me, not knowing where to go, feeling scared. I had no one to talk to. I had no one to share it with. I was afraid of being judged. And I did not believe that I mattered enough to talk to anyone about it. So when I finally shared my story, when I finally put it out there and I started talking about it, while it felt really good, I wasn't healed from it. And it took me until I started doing the inner work, started understanding what my beliefs are and the feelings and emotions attached to my beliefs about who I am and my worth and my value. When one of my teachers said to me, as long as you share that story and you break down and you start crying and you fall apart, that is the universe letting you know that you still haven't worked through this yet. And I remember thinking, how could you say that? You have no idea what I feel like. You have no idea what I've been through. So while I do deserve to hold on to that story, to hold on to that energy, to hold on to that feeling of low self-worth and low self-esteem and feeling like I have no value, that's my right. That's my choice if that's what I choose. But once I understood that I had a different choice, that I could actually start looking at it from a different way, that I should actually start looking at the beliefs that I had created around the circumstances, that's when I started to understand, oh, there is something about me that is so powerful, so valuable, that I don't have to stay in this low energy any longer. But as long as I was in that low energy, I attracted more of the bullies, more of the fear, more of the feeling like I didn't deserve anything better. We put out energy and we attract energy, and we attract what we're putting out. So when we're ready to step outside of the low energy, when we're ready to start creating a higher vibration of energy, because we want the world, the universe, people, our mirror image to know we matter. We make a difference. And when you find out what that difference is, what you're here for, what you are meant to do, it changes everything. But when you have self-talk that's very negative, that's telling you that you don't deserve to have what others have, you deserve to stay in this low energy, and that's what you're attracting. That is considered lack. You lack. You believe that lack is in your life. And lack will show up in your finances. It will show up in your relationships. It will show up in your health. It will show up in your mental outlook. You have the power to change your life any second. Perhaps this message will shed some light or maybe plant a seed. And maybe you're sitting there listening to this and you're thinking, Nancy, you don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know where I've been. You don't know what I've been through. And that is true. I do not. But I do know that you matter. I do know that you're a gift. I do know that every single person is a gift. We may not believe it. We may not believe in our value. But once you start to grasp that, once you start to understand how valuable you are, that is where you're going to start vibrating. You're going to just start inching up. And you don't have to inch up. You can go from 0 to 10. No problem. It's up to you. You can take it as slow or as fast as you want to go. But when you learn to work and live your life from the inside out, you will attract all of the abundance, all of the prosperity, all of the value, everything that is yours, all of the good, because that is who you are. That is where you come from. But when you're living your life from the outside in, what that means is that you're looking to other people for validation. You may get into relationships that don't serve you or they're abusive. And you wonder, why is this person doing this to me? It's because you are not valuing yourself. You deserve to have the best of everything. You deserve to let people know how amazing you are, how wonderful you are. And you deserve to say, you know what? I am special. I am awesome. And I am not going to take this anymore. Right here, right now, I make a stance. And my life is going to be different. And if you can't physically make a change right this minute, start making the change in your mind. Because we create our life from our minds. And if you don't believe that, look at where you are in your life right now. If you're thinking low thoughts, low energy thoughts, and your life is this low energy experiences, you've created that based on your thoughts. So you can create higher energy. That's why every single self-development course, every single self-help course, they start with affirmations. You want to say things like, I am wonderful, I am beautiful, I am gorgeous. You may not believe it at the beginning, but when you start to understand the power of your words, your thoughts will change, your beliefs will shift, and then you'll start making different choices. The two most powerful words you can begin a sentence with is I am. So if you are saying sentences or comments or thinking thoughts that begin with I am and something negative, you're sending a message to the universe that this is what you want to bring into your life. When you start a sentence, a thought with I am and end it with something positive, the vibration changes, your thoughts change, your words change, your life changes. So while I really highly believe that it's so important for us to hear the words that someone needs to share, if someone has a story and they need to speak it, they need to get it out, please do your best to honor that person. But if that person shares the story over and over and over and isn't really doing anything to step outside of that story, to go beyond their story, perhaps you can share this video with them. Perhaps just listening to the fact that there is someone who was in that very low energy for many, many, many years and learned, when I stop living my life from the outside in and start living my life from the inside out, everything in my life changed. Everything. You have the power to change whatever is happening in your life. If it's great and you want it better, you can do that. If it's not so great and you want to bring it up to great, you can do that as well. Please talk to someone. If you are in a position and you're hurting and you're keeping silent and that silence is hurting you day after day, talk to someone. If you can't talk to a parent, talk to a teacher. And as I said, there is information in the description of this video. Please talk to someone. And if you talk to someone and they give you advice that doesn't feel right to you, you are the best person to know what's good for you. So if something doesn't feel right, doesn't sound right, give yourself permission to say, I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to take this someplace else. Because when you are allowing someone else to make choices for you, someone else to say, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to think, this is where you need to go, this is how you need to dress, this is where you need to live, you're giving your power to another person. That is living from the outside in. When you truly begin to understand how valuable you are, the worth that you are, the love that you come from, when you start feeling all of that love for who you are and what you're here to do, you'll never again make a choice for yourself that is unloving. You will learn not to suffer in silence any longer. You will learn that silence hurts. And at any moment, you're free to step out of that silence. Free yourself, free your mind, master your beliefs, because life is all about choices. Thank you so much for listening to this. And please, if this message has helped you in any way, subscribe to our channel and share it. Share the message, because you might not even understand what I'm talking about in this message. You might be listening to this and saying, I have no clue what she's talking about or how this works. But I can guarantee you that there are at least 4 or 5 people that you see every single day who are suffering in silence. And their silence is hurting them because they don't think that there's any place to go. They don't think that there's any way out of their situation. I am so blessed. I love my life. I love the messages that I am gifted by the universe to share. And I am so, so passionate about working and sharing my life with anyone who wants to be more empowered in their life and is looking for any opportunity to take that low energy of vibration and take it as high as you can go to infinity and beyond, because that's what you deserve. In the meantime, this is Nancy Mueller saying ciao for now.